Even though Angela Rayner has never shied away from controversy, she has once again managed to make a total fool of herself in the legislature. During her most recent appearance in the House of Commons, she was under severe scrutiny and found it difficult to explain her role in the contentious decision to call off local elections rather than offering definitive answers. In today's video, we'll analyze the footage, respond to the criticism she received, and discuss what this means for Labour's credibility going forward. You won't want to miss this, but before we get started, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join our rapidly expanding community for more hard-hitting British content. Just a quick note to say that we do have new on-air t-shirts available on our website. Go to british.com or check the link in the description. Observe this, ma'am. The Deputy Speaker. I want to know what the Secretary of State would say to the 5 million individuals who are no longer eligible to vote in this election and who prefer to cast their ballots prior to this generational change in power rather than later. We are working with locally democratically elected councillors to deliver better local services after the 14 years of decay and destruction under the Conservatives. Thank you, Secretary of State. I tell the honourable member that they haven't lost their right to vote. It will still exist. However, voting in an election of something that won't exist and will cost their taxpayers enormous sums of money is inefficient and not a way forward. The Deputy Speaker. Can I remind the Secretary of State that money is necessary for a democracy to function properly in light of her statement? Since my constituents in Great Yarmouth dislike having unelected councillors serve them, could she please provide a copper-bottom guarantee that the new Norral and Suffolk Homunculus Council will be elected on May 26? Well, Secretary of State, I address the Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker. I've been very clear about elections and that they do cost money, Madam Deputy Speaker, but how can we defend holding one election and then holding another one within a year, which will cost taxpayers a significant amount of money? I'll politely tell the honourable member that councillors were elected and that we're collaborating with local councillors to provide for the needs of the local population. Richard T.I. Thank you, Deputy Speaker, Madam. Elections can be cancelled by dictators, not by democratic ones. Interestingly, in regions where Reform UK Care is anticipated to perform fairly well in calling off these elections, 5.5 million voters in southern England are being denied the opportunity to evaluate the work of their councillors over the last 4 years. Secretary of State, you have acknowledged that she is unsure of what will take their place. Therefore, it appears to me that there is a significant risk, as was previously mentioned, that they won't be prepared in a year, in which case can the Secretary of State be crystal clear? Will they postpone another year or move forward in May 2026, Secretary of State? Well, Madam Deputy Speaker? Please note that when a member brings up dictators, it's a reform leader who hasn't faced an elected official to take over as leader, but he's the only one who hasn't, and I tell the honourable members, look, we're not cancelling elections. I've been really clear on the rationale, which is not unique. It's for reorganization, it's far further devolution, so people in that local area will get more powers from this government, which is what we promised through our manifesto and we will continue to deliver for people. I have very strict and narrow guidelines for why I permit those areas to postpone their elections, and I'm confident they can deliver, which is why I turned down others. I've been acutely aware that we want to ensure that people have a say in their local areas, which is what the devolution agenda is all about. As Tory leader Bach suggests that legal migrants in the UK should only be permitted to apply for indefinite leave to remain in the country after they have been there for 10 years, double the current 5-year threshold, Kemi Badok has pledged to remove unemployed or low-paid migrants from Britain in an effort to lessen their net burden on the state. The plan would mean that the majority of low-skilled foreign workers, including those on the minimum wage, would not be able to claim ILR if they had not claimed benefits or used social housing during their entire 10 years in Britain. They would also need to have been net contributors to the economy during that time, meaning that their salary and tax payments must have been high enough to outweigh their cost to the state, including those of their children, other dependents, or any benefits they may have claimed. According to research by K.L. Williams of the Centre for Policy Studies think tank, only 5% of all visas in 2022 to 2023 were granted to high-skilled migrants who are likely to be net contributors to Britain's economy, and proposals to reform ILR have already been made in December. The right to citizenship and permanent residency should only be granted to those who have shown a genuine commitment to the UK, according to Sam Bidwell, who called on Britain to triple the ILR threshold to 15 years and put safeguards in place to ensure that high-quality, compatible migrants settle in the nation. We're going to tell the hard truths about immigration now that the Conservative Party has new leadership, she continued. Be not continued since immigration has been happening too quickly and there are too many new arrivals for a UK passport should be a privilege rather than an automatic one. In order to achieve meaningful integration, we must slow down the citizenship process. The Labour government is overseeing an impending catastrophe. Since no one can trust legal immigrants to work on immigration-related bad knocks, the border security law will actually make it easier for illegal immigrants to remain in the UK. Later, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phillips expressed regret for the spike in non-EU migration under the previous administration and acknowledged that it shouldn't have occurred. He told the media that the previous government made mistakes and that today's policy announcements are specific, credible, and well considered. This is one of the steps in the process to restore that trust and demonstrate that a future Conservative government would take tough action that will resolve this. Finally, Prince William visited Angus on Thursday to highlight community organisations that are addressing rural isolation and loneliness in Scotland. While in Scotland, William, who is known as the Duke of Rothes, concentrated on projects that promote relationships in rural communities. The purpose of the visit was to demonstrate the royals' dedication to assisting groups that promote well-being and cultivate new friendships in rural areas. William met with organizations that address social isolation and mental health issues, especially in farming communities. The prince's visit brought attention to the continued efforts of neighborhood groups to establish safe spaces where people can develop new skills and form bonds. The Farm Safety Foundation, also known as Yellow Wellies, hosted a roundtable to start off the Duke's visit. The roundtable focused on mental health in farming communities and brought together young farmers from the Scottish Association of Young Farmers Clubs to talk about their experiences with rural isolation. During the discussion, the Duke shared his personal connection to rural life, saying, "I love the countryside and I love farming." What are your thoughts on the topics we covered in today's video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you haven't already, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, and take care. Goodbye.